Okay. Can you start a podcast with me, please? I need something to do.
Pastrnak sent it out in front of Moe. The save, they score! Elias Lindholm looks to the heavens.
Here's a chance. Potter right in on goal. He scores. Oh my! What a move by the rookie.
2-on-1. Pastrnak moving in with Marchand. Get it to it. Score!
The zone. Coyle dances in. Backhand score!
Lindholm right wing corner. Pastrnak is there. He scores! David Pastrnak wins it for Boston.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Bruins Tape to Tape. We are continuing on with our seeming a summer tradition now of player profiles, and these profiles have been focusing on the acquisitions that were made by Don Sweeney during the free agency frenzy in July. Our focus for this episode is going to be Tanner Jeannot, and there has been no shortage of reaction to this signing by Don Sweeney. But before we take a deep dive into that, I want to welcome in my lovely co-host, Karoline with a K. Welcome in.
Hey, Maria. How's it going?
It's awesome. And our friend of the pod, Professor Moe. Thank you for joining us for another episode.
Hello.
So we're going to talk about Tanner Jeannot today. And, you know, as you all know, I listen to a lot of Boston sports talk radio. And when this player was signed, I have never seen the reactions or heard the reactions that I heard from, you know, local radio guys and a couple of members of the sports writing teams that cover the Boston Bruins. It was almost comical, the reaction to the Tanner Jeannot signing. And a little bit of background on this signing is that the Bruins signed him to a 5-year, cinco.
That's a lot.
$17 million contract with a 3.4 mil AAV that keeps him with the Boston Bruins through the 2029-30 season. In addition to that, he's got a full no trade clause for his first year, then a 15-team no trade list in 2027, and a 17 no trade list in 2028. Now, I've done a little bit of research, and of course I listen, but I make my own assessments too. And this, to me, and this is what you're here for, Professor Moe, is to talk me off the ledge with the signing, because it's too much in my mind.
Which part?
The term, and I think even to some degree, maybe the money, I don't know. But the term, I think, is what, and the full no trade clause from what I'm reading and seeing and hearing, is another bottom six forward. Now, I understand that he brings a lot of intangibles. We had some questions. We had some concerns about leadership last year, who was actually leaders, and then the leaders that we thought we had, we cleaned house. With it. Okay. So I understand, right? And he has spoken well. I've seen some clips of Tanner Jeannot speaking after he was signed, saying the right things, talking about the culture of the organization. But I think what has people really puzzled and going off the deep end is this 5 years.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I don't think the cap hit is all that destructive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if all reports are accurate, the cap is going to go up significantly. So I would say if the cap was not going to increase, I forget what it will be, but it's going to increase millions, I think?
Couple
5,
million.
6,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch. So I would say if the cap was not going to increase, then I would wonder, and I would probably want what Don and Cam are smoking. But if since it feels like I think the term is probably a little bit too long for someone that started out really hot and had a great season and
Yeah.
just never really captured that same hype, that same just kind of on ice production. And he went to really good teams. He went to
Yes.
Tampa.
Yes.
And so
Nashville when they were,
Right.
when they were good. I mean, the last
Right.
time, his best season was 2021, 2022, 24 goals, 17 assists. And then after that, the production just drops significantly and
right.
a little dramatically for me. Now,
Right.
his last season was with the LA Kings. We all know that Marco Storm was, part of the coaching staff there. So, I don't know how much of an influence Marco had in the signing of this player. And, for me, I think I could swallow it more. All right, the 5 years, okay, I'll hold my nose. It stinks. But the no trade clause,
Yeah.
the no
Well,
trade.
it's a no trade clause for the first year, right?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
don't think the Bruins will trade a player in the first year. That's not how the Bruins roll. Albeit some of their signings and their player personnel moves make you not think that they care about the players, but say what you will, Don sticks up and really does care what the players, how they feel, and he tries to do right by them. So if he's going to give a guy a no trade, it's the first year. They're probably not going to trade him anyways. And then it dips to what, like 15 teams?
15.
So, and then 17. So it's not terrible. And I'm trying to remember, you guys might remember better than me, but not this offseason, but the offseason before. I forget what Don said he wanted the team to get better at. Wasn't it like better on the pucks, like better 50-50 pucks? And then they went out and basically got players that sucked at 50-50 pucks. So if you think about like this offseason, they said they wanted to get tougher to play against. They wanted to get meaner. They wanted to become like the big bad Bruins again. So at least they tried. I mean, this guy is what you want.
He's
I don't
tough as
think
nails. No.
he's tough. He's big. He's
I like
rangy.
what he says. I
So,
think for
right.
me, if what bothers me a little bit is, when you hear the talking heads saying that, a lot of them saying, what were they doing given, a 5-year deal to this guy? And then some were saying, well, there was a lot of competition for him and they didn't want to lose out on him. Okay, but we were losing out on maybe another bottom 6 forward. So I
No.
need to understand
So-
where we're going with this
All right.
player.
Let's get into it. So I think the one thing we all have to understand as fans is we don't know what the interview process is. We don't know what these scouts are seeing. These scouts are watching every single game. I mean, that's their job. That's what they get paid for, right? So there's things out there, and I think a lot of GMs get freaked out like everybody wants this guy, so I really want this guy. But the good thing is like the Bruins, we all think they needed top 6 players, but there really weren't any top 6 players that the Bruins really had a legit opportunity to grab in UFA. So if we're looking at what they did and trying to be optimistic about it, it's probably not a great signing when it comes to term, but it's a good signing for the player who he is as a player with upside. And maybe if Kostelic has concussion problems and can't play, he fits what they have and helps kind of alleviate the question marks. So, and if Marco Sturm wants a guy that he knows instead of a prospect, then give it to him and see if he can actually give the Bruins what they need.
I did
So-
hear Andrew Raycroft on the Morning Brew guys did a pod shortly after the free agency period had come and gone, and he seemed to he spoke very glowingly
Right.
of Tanner Jeannot and what he brings to your room, what he brings in terms
Yep.
of leadership and having his teammates back, which I appreciate and I admire.
Yep.
And I know those are things that we need to start rebuilding on.
Yep.
We're looking at a rebuild of this organization. But I think, did we really need to go the five? And I just can't seem to get past
Right.
that aspect of it.
But if you think about it real quick, when it comes to cap hit, I've kind of changed my thinking where I don't see the cap hit of just being what their production is on the ice. I see it everywhere, like in the locker room, in the building itself, in the community. Like, these guys don't get paid to play hockey and then also do like other things for the team, right? Everything they do, like the marketing, the leadership, all the community engagement stuff, like their salary includes all of that. So he's getting what, 3.5 a year, which isn't all that much in the whole scheme of things. But if he brings some on ice production, he sticks up for his teammates, which we know the Bruins need because they're going to have prospects. If he brings that leadership that's been missing and he helps stick up for Patra or Lysell, because remember Lysell in Providence, he needed, he got pushed around. So
even
we'll
Pasta,
see.
we got to throw Pasta in there too. Let's not underestimate the fact that night to night who you've got to target and who you've got to you've got to stop. Right.
Right.
Well, I wonder a couple of things. So in terms of the term situation, I think the more I've kind of sat with it, and based on the conversation that we had with friend of the pod, Gail, I wonder if it was largely driven by competition amongst teams to get them. So his price went up. Players are always looking for term. Like, I think that's always a big deal. Maybe, and this is pure speculation, but maybe he was offered things, a deal that was of equal value but shorter years, and Boston then kind of took it lower value, but the total contract value is the same over a longer period of time. With the cap going up, it is going to start to change what a bottom six forward is worth, right? Like, we kind of jokingly say, oh yeah, Jeremy Swayman, he reset the market on, blah, blah, blah. Or Schuster could reset the market on blah, 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 right?
Yep.
But it's kind of like, with inflation in general, a slice of pizza in 1965 cost $0.25, but today it costs, $5 because the value of the money has changed, right? And so when you're increasing the cap, I think some of that is going to be that these bottom six guys are just also going to be making and expecting a higher salary. So maybe that's that. And I could be okay with that. I'll
take more years for less salary than less years for more salary.
Especially if it turns out that it's not.
It just seems
a
like
good fit.
you've kind of, like, I don't want to say hamstrung yourself, but you're still in a rebuild mode. This is technically the first year of your rebuild. And so are you telling me with this 5-year term that you're making this commitment to Tanner Jeannot to be an integral part of that rebuild, where you're signing him to a 5-year deal? How how committed have you become to him as part of your rebuild?
Right. Well, and I think that that's the off ice stuff that, again, we don't know what those conversations were, but clearly then there must have been something there, because we've talked about this now for a while, that there has not been an Uncle Nick role. Yes, this guy's 28, but he's been in the league long enough that he can be that veteran leader, Uncle Nick guy for that bottom six.
And he carries himself well.
Yeah.
I mean, he speaks well, he carries himself well, seems to have, no character flaws that we have been made aware of.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with all of these pretty excellent, I think, prospects in the pipeline that are going to be coming out of the college system over the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to need somebody who then has hopefully been on the team and has taken on that leadership role. So maybe there is a bigger picture that they are just not, discussing publicly, as they typically don't. And this is one of those trust the process deals. But one thing that, the other thing that that Gail had brought up was his skill set right in front of the net, and this was the one thing that then convinced me, okay, maybe this is a worthwhile deal. While we haven't seen him meet expectations since that particular season in Nashville, he went to Tampa Bay, which we had just talked about, Iceman, how he was there for only a hot second, and that clearly wasn't a system that worked for him. So is Tanner Jeannot. So again, is that another system that just didn't work for him, that he was at the wrong job and he's still looking for his place where he can play his natural game, which is allegedly right in front of the net.
Yep.
Dirty, greasy goals that we have not seen.
Trying to find his sweet spot
since JVR. So, Mo, let's dive in then to these stats and tell us what should we be looking for?
Upside.
Or give us the positives here.
No, and I hate to be. I'm just talking about, and I'm not saying, to me, it's not. It's just it was puzzling. It was a little bit like, what are we doing here?
Right.
5 years, right? And some people, literally lost their lunch because it looked like, again, when the cumulative of all of these signings were like, but
bottom six. Yep.
Yeah.
So when you look at Jeannot's really good season, most of the goals in his highlight reel were in the front, rebounds, deflections, and his all three zone stats from that year pretty much kind of just show that and reflect that, right? So his rebounds, his deflections were all above league average. And if you want to kind of compare him to somebody, you can kind of compare him to JVR when he was with the Bruins, where I would say the rebounds are about the same, but Jeannot's deflections are way better than JVR. So JVR actually by the stats was not good at deflections in front of the net, where if you look at Jeannot, his deflections, his skill set puts him well positioned in front. And another good positive is his defensive zone kind of exits, and his defensive zone play is above league average.
Okay.
And if you think, it's not great, but that pairs well with a guy like Kostelic, where maybe if you have Costa and you have Jeannot playing on the same line, that's a good line that maybe you could start in your D zone. You're always going to need that line you can rely on in your D zone to get it out and potentially go and get a shot and get a face off and then get the better lines out there. So you need those. It's all those lines and what their roles are. So if we kind of break it down, his puck retrieval, his defensive zone work is one of the things that he does well.
Mhm.
So his Z scores are above average. He's a strong battle winner in his own zone. And what we found what I found when I was looking is basically he breaks up cycles. So he's good at anticipating where the puck's going to go. And you need that guy where if he's not going to score goals, he's got to stop goals from being scored. So
Mhm.
if he can do that, that's one positive.
Okay.
His top speed, his speed's probably average. Looking at the edge stats, he's just kind of there. He's not an Isamont guy who's going to blow you away. He's not slow, which is also good,
I
right? So
mean,
Yeah,
he's
he's a big body.
he's a big dude.
the
So
bar is kind of low right now,
I
so
know, right?
great. Don't
Fair.
know what to say about that.
One of the good things though is he's got a pretty hard shot. So if you look at kind of the edge stats, I mean his top shot speed was 92 miles an hour, which puts him in the 88th percentile. So he can rip it.
Mhm.
But his average shot speed is below average at 53 miles an hour. So he can shoot it, but it seems like the majority of his shots that he puts off are probably not going to be effective or strong. And that could
Yeah.
be because their rebounds, their deflections, all that,
Yeah.
you take it for a grain of salt, right?
Right.
He didn't really have a lot of shots on goal. Looks like he had about 56 shots on goal, which could have led to the fact that he didn't score a whole bunch. Maybe the roles that he had in LA were more of a fourth line grinder. I don't know what he played in LA, but in order to score, you got to shoot, you got to go to the net, and maybe that's just not how he was utilized.
Mm.
So time will tell with that aspect. But he does play a lot of time in his neutral zone. So if he's not going to be an offensive guy, I'd rather him be more of that type of kind of defensive neutral zone, play that bottom six where you kind of disrupt things and you push the play for the top six guys to then get more offensive zone face-offs and that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
really what we're looking at is kind of an average player, average speed, average shot, really good forechecker, a guy that's big and strong and can play in front of the net. Maybe he can be a power play guy if you just stick him in front and hopefully he can bang away. We talked about Isamont, who maybe can go low to high and then you get the defense to shoot and then Jeannot's there. Who knows how these guys line up together, but I I don't think it's gonna be a whole lot of flash, and we're
Mm.
probably going to be disappointed with a lot of the stuff he does. But I think we're gonna be disappointed because we think we have 5 years of garbage where
Mm.
I think we need to just kinda eliminate any expectations and just watch him play, and
Yeah.
then
He
let him
seems
do that.
pretty durable too. I mean, looking at,
Yep.
throughout the course of his career, he's remained healthy and available.
Mhm.
And,
And his hits, I mean, especially considering he's healthy and available, he
right,
had
Right.
211 hits last
yeah,
season. Zadorov had 219. The season before he had 211. He had 290 back in 22-23 and 318 in 21-22. I mean, that's absurd. So he does seem like he's pretty sturdy boy.
no, and he
Yep.
hits. I mean, from what I've seen, he hits pretty goddamn hard too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will
so-
take the hit stat for a grain of salt.
Well,
'Cause
yeah, right.
you know why. I
Yes.
cannot bring him up every time I come on, but
Yes.
that's why.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
move on.
We know. We know.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I just gotta say it.
So what are the
But
biggest areas of concern? Like,
Concern, yes.
yeah, what makes
And
them
take the term out of it. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
change. It's a point of conversation. It is what it is because he's been signed. But
Yeah.
other than that,
so he's definitely a bottom six guy, right? So he's not one of those guys that you can push up. I think his decline in points and production, even after that kind of massive trade that Tampa, I mean, they got rid of the Cal Foot, a first, a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth round pick. So
He was the hot
Tampa
ticket item
saw,
that year.
yeah, everybody wanted him, and he didn't do anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know if he has to play one specific style of game.
I was just gonna
and
say, do you
he's
think
not
he can only
versatile.
do physical? Like, that's his job, is to just
Right.
be physical, and it's sacrificed potential offensive production?
I could see that where he's not fast, so he's not going to develop a whole lot of, off the rush kind of plays. I would say since he's a bigger guy, he probably needs to he's easier to defend because he's bigger, you can kind of box him out. So he
Mhm.
has to learn how to push and get better positioning, and maybe he hasn't been coached to kind of use that or teams know how to play him. Where, I mean,
Yeah.
his rookie year or his first year, he scored 20 some goals, and then after that, nothing. So
Right.
it could be teams just figured him out.
Maybe.
Or unfortunately, teams just didn't figure out how to utilize him.
Which is
So I
also a
think,
possibility.
yeah, and he's not great with kind of offensive creation.
I mean, that's not
He
great,
doesn't.
but
No, he
you don't accept that, right? Fourth liner, right? That's
right.
not their
Fourth, third
job.
line. No.
It's not
No,
their
it's
Um,
not.
job.
You're
right,
absolutely right. It's
right.
it's not their job. It's not
Mm-hmm.
I
their
think.
job. But
What do
are
we
we
expect?
building a team full of third and fourth liner? I mean, honestly, I'm
Yes,
asking
we
an
are.
honest
'Cause
question
we
here.
have.
I think based on the roster creation, we already kind of had 5 of the top 6 already there, right? You had Pasta, Geeky, Lindholm, Zaka, and I forget who else. But you had 5 guys, and then we
Yeah.
brought in Arvidsson, and then
Yep.
that rounds out your top 6.
Yep.
So I don't think the Bruins thought they could bring anybody else that would push for a top 6 role. I don't
Right.
think the Bruins thought anybody else in free agency could mesh and be like a Taylor Hall type player who would
No.
have
Yeah.
been a top 6 but could handle a third line role. And so they went the other extreme and brought in basically guys that were the big bad Bruins, right? Jeannot reminded me
Grinders.
of
We
a
used to
Bucci
call them
guy. Right,
grinders. Yeah, we
right.
got a team
You
full of
know,
grinders.
right, which is fun to watch, but you're not gonna win a lot of games.
Yeah.
No, and
But you're still
right, and you're
gonna
not gonna win blowout games either, because you're gonna be sitting
right,
there waiting for the final buzzer to, eke out, a one goal victory, or, a loss by
yep,
one goal.
yep,
So
and I
Mhm.
think maybe the Bruins are hoping Swayman continues to be the goalie everybody thinks and hopes he is, and steals a bunch of games, and they
I think you
play
will.
a very strong defensive game where they don't give up a whole lot of high danger area shots, and they're able to win 2-1,
Mhm.
3-2, or, the low scoring, and they kind of
Well,
squeak into the
Marco
playoffs,
Sturm will remember those
and we'll
days
see.
very well, because he was part of
Yeah.
those teams. So
Yep,
he has good familiarity with it, and
Mhm.
I take it as a good sign
Mm.
that Tanner Jeannot wants to be part of the Bruins, where he was previously affiliated with Marco Sturm. So
Mhm. Yep.
yep. So,
So
I mean,
what's your grade then here, Mo? What are you thinking then? How do you feel? What are the vibes going into? Because
this
I feel like this team is just operating off vibes at this point, people. Like it's just
this
vibes.
this is a tough one because he's obviously got skills. He's obviously got size. It's
Mhm.
just how do the Bruins see him fitting into this team, right? Do they expect him to be a third line guy that kind of pushes the play, pushes the pace of play, and kind of creates offense? And if that's the case, I think it's going to fail miserably because Jeannot is just not that guy.
Yeah.
He's not creative. He's not fast. He's not
Mhm.
Isamont. He's basically a better version of Kostelik. And we saw Kostelik try to be a guy that wasn't a fourth liner, and it didn't work long term.
Right.
So the good thing is he meshes well with Kostelik. They're both really good in the defensive zone. They're good in exits. I think if you can get Jeannot to kind of be a second power play guy and be in front of the net and just do enough, maybe be a leader, kind of help solidify and just kind of bring a little bit more stability. And if he knows Marco Sturm and can help kind of deliver that message and be that other guy in the room that brings everyone together, there's stuff outside the score sheet that he can do that can help the team. And
when listening to you talk, as I'm like formulating thoughts in my head, I'm thinking, could this be the kind of guy that when, you need the trajectory of the game to change, or you need the ice to tilt to your end, you throw him out there and say, you know what, just go out there and lay a big clean hit on someone and get, you know what I mean? Set a tone.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The good thing is he's big, he's tough. I don't think he shies away from fights, which I know hockey seems to be shying away from fights, but there's still Matt
But
Rempe.
there's still
There's
physicality in it, right?
Yep.
There's still, you can still change the trajectory of a game without having to drop the gloves, right? I mean, when someone lays a clean hockey check on someone, I think it's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yep. And honestly, I like the scrums in front of the net.
Yes.
If he's going to crash the net, sometimes, I hate to say it, but I'm okay if you're going to hit the goalie a little bit.
Yeah.
Knock him in, push
I mean,
the net.
nobody knows what GTI is anyways, so you might as well try your luck.
I know, right? So
let them know you're there.
Yeah.
I think it's a risky move. I think it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be really, really, really bad. I think it's going to go one of those two ways. The way I look at it is when the Cubs were just about getting good, they signed Lester. They signed some guys that at the time people were kind of wondering they're not going to help the team now, but they could help the team in the future. And eventually that happened. I mean, Lester wasn't great, but he was that guy in the locker room that was steady. He was a veteran.
But he had that championship pedigree coming from the Red Sox.
And Jeannot maybe doesn't have the championship pedigree, but he's played with guys that do. He played with Stamkos, played with Hedman, played with guys. He knows Sturm, so he's got that familiarity. And sometimes teams just need to be kind of relaxed. And I think there's going to be so much pressure and so much just kind of like newness. Somebody that can go out there and just lay a big hit and settle the team down, that just might be what they need. And if Costa's got, concussion problems and can't play, they're going to need a guy like Jeannot that can do those same types of things. And
it's going to be interesting to see how all of this, how it eventually balances out when the season starts in terms of who's going to play where, who's going to be sitting on, I mean, you can't play all these guys. You just can't.
Right.
Yep.
And we're not asking him to be a top line left wing with Pasta and Pasta and Lindholm. So I hate to say it, but we're not asking him to be Freddie and move up from fourth line center to second line wing. We're not pushing him out of his comfort zone and saying you're the best thing since sliced bread. It's like, no, just be you. Just be sourdough.
But here's where I worry, and I think we talked off air about this, is the Boston Bruins have not done, I think, a very good job of putting their rostered players in the best scenarios to succeed and get the best out of them. And, my hope is that changes with bringing in a new coach, but I don't know. And if that doesn't happen, right, a lot of this I don't want to say will be for naught, but we'll be back on the same hamster wheel again.
Yep.
Yeah. But remember, I mean, this is a retool. We have some good players, right? Pasta's probably the best player in the league if you look at stats and history, or top three. You got a decent defense core where McAvoy, his stats are actually pretty legit. Sorry, bug. And you got Swayman.
No, I think that should be a star of our team.
Right.
That defensive core
Yeah, we
Right.
still on
Which is
paper
what
are
I
very
thought we were
good.
going to be last year.
Yeah.
That we, people were just going to be like shitting their pants playing again. You know
Right.
what I mean?
I know.
Coming
Yeah.
in, and it just didn't come to fruition.
Right.
I
And we'll
think-
see what the other teams did and how they work.
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto lost Marner, and we'll kind of see who does what,
Kinda
but
shake up.
you never
I
know.
think my kind of final thought on Jeannot is, again, as I've sat with it for the last 6 weeks, I think the other element that kind of just made me feel, really, that's it, is the fact that, besides the fact that the free agency class was not awesome, the availability
we
was
all
not
knew
great,
that.
but
We all knew that, and I think we all were in agreement.
yeah,
Yep.
but I
It's,
think for me, the
live
other
that fairy tale land thinking that you could get a Mitch
Right.
Marner, and then we all, me, it's
No.
like, I'm not paying you
No.
that kind of money when you're a bum in the playoffs. I'm sorry,
Right.
you're a bum.
right.
Right.
But I think the piece for me that I have realized is what made it kind of lackluster is the fact that we had so many important people, impactful people, significant people leave the organization. Now, on paper, are they those things? Not necessarily, right? On paper, is Charlie Coyle or Brandon Carlo, are these guys spectacular superstar players? No.
Right.
But they were really important to us as Boston Bruins fans, as part of what Boston has been for the last 5 years, right? They were really
Right.
significant pieces. And to say goodbye to several significant pieces, the fabric of who the Bruins have been for the last 5 years, and to then not really seemingly fill that void with someone who's coming in with already that built-in importance and significance is what I think made his signing feel flat.
Yep.
Probably at the end of the day, it actually has nothing to do with him personally as a player. It's a combination of all of these things that he had zero control over, right? The free agency class and the people who left and needing to fill up what we've lost, and we don't know him. It's like, you're
Yeah.
coming in, you're our new dad. I don't know you. You're not my dad, right? Who are you?
I want to take you out for coffee first.
I know.
Right.
No,
And I
Mark,
wanna
what is
take
this?
you out for a drink, and then maybe I'll buy you
Yep.
dinner.
Right.
We'll just say most Bruins fans thought we got rid of Marchand and we brought in Jeannot.
Right. And that's supposed to be
That's-
the
right.
equal.
Right.
No.
No. But I
Right.
think that's unfair. I think
Yes.
that's
Yes.
And
not
that's what I worry
inappropriate.
about for
Yeah.
these guys. I
Yeah.
do worry
Yep.
about the
What they're gonna
expectation.
face.
Right.
Right.
I do
Right.
worry about that. I don't, because some of these players are coming from, markets
Quiet
that
market.
even though they might get scrutinized.
Yeah.
The fan base, the Boston Bruins fan base is very passionate, very vocal, very loud,
Yeah.
and very opinionated, right? And I'm talking about myself, right? If I make up my mind about a player and I say I'm done with you, I'm done with you.
Mhm.
So I am concerned
Yeah.
about the reception and the kind of the relationship development for these players. And I
Yeah.
hope that management has that also sense of awareness
Mhm.
when it comes to building the roster.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say two things. One, you guys have a different perspective than I do. You guys are actually out in that area, so you get the media attention, where I'm in Chicago, and believe it or not, we do not give a shit about hockey. On our major sports talk radio, the Blackhawks are never talked about. Not
Same.
once. We don't talk about Bedard at all. And everybody wonders why he wants to
Crazy.
leave. Not
Yeah.
once.
It's a shame.
So
Wow.
it's kind of fun. And second,
Can I ask you something though? Was it
Yeah.
like that during the
Ah.
Blackhawks heyday with, Marion Hossa and Taves and Kane, and when you got,
They liked him a little more, but being a Blackhawks hater, I kind of avoided the major sports talk, but they still talk positively about Hossa, where they don't even really talk about Bedard. It's crazy.
Wow.
So it's
Wild.
kind of, yeah. And the other thing, when I was going to business school, right? Business school teaches you should have a long-term, right, like 3 to 5 year plan. So if I'm looking at the Bruins, and I'm hoping they're doing this because Don and Cam are supposed to be business people, I hope they're looking at this as a retool where they have a 2 or 3 year plan where they said, all right, this year we can't get a top 6 guy. We'll make a trade for someone that is on 1 more year in Arvidsson, where if he doesn't pan out, whatever. No one here we really want to sign or can sign or wants to sign with us. We weren't going to get Marner. We weren't going to get anybody else that wanted to, play with us. We're probably not going to get Robertson from Dallas. That's all a pipe dream. So let's look at the next future class. Would I love McDavid. Do I want him? Yeah, but we're not going to get him. But could we get Eichel? We could get Eichel. I mean, crazier things have happened. If we have this class, if we have Jeannot and these guys now, and we get Eichel next year, our team next year, we play Hagens next year. Our team's pretty fucking good. So we can then have a top 9 as opposed to a top 6, and we can spot guys in, and hopefully that's kind of where the Bruins are thinking, where Pasta's, 29-ish? Swayman is younger, McAvoy, Lohrei, all those guys are younger, and they go for it then, and crazier things have happened. I mean, we signed Chara, we signed Savard. We didn't win that year, but we made the Bruins, that started the culture, so maybe the Bruins are trying to do a reset with Jeannot, with Isamat, with some of these guys, and hopefully trying to capture that same energy, and we'll just see if hopefully that's. The problem is we don't know what's going on in behind closed doors, or what they're putting on, or what they're thinking,
But
I'm
confident this is going to be closer to the 3 year than the 5 year for a variety of reasons. Because there is one thing that I believe that ownership and management is very well aware of, is that the patience of this fan base is short.
Which is good.
If you're not putting effort forward to show us that you are retooling, rebuilding, we understand this needs to be done, but don't yank our chain. Because if people stop going into that building, that's when ownership will likely take more of a vested interest. So I do believe that it will be a shorter period of time. So, can we tolerate, 2-3 years? Okay, yes, because again, do we like it?
It took
we had 10
years after Chara was signed.
Yeah, it did. So these are not uncharted waters for this franchise, but
and the Bruins are motivated by money. They want to win to make the playoffs.
Correct.
They go deep in the playoffs to make money.
Correct.
So let's hope that motivates them and they accidentally win a cup. So
whatever.
We'll see. Hey, if that's what they do, I'll take
2011, right? Lightning can strike twice, but lightning can strike twice. But
and like we said, that team wasn't amazing, but they had guys in the right role, in the right area. And Marchand,
and everybody
was amazing,
knew what their job was, and everybody did their job appropriately and did it very, 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 very well. So, with that being said, thank you, Mo. Thank you for all of your research, and to some degree, I don't know, we'll have to put like some kind of therapeutic initials at the end of your name.
No. No, I am nope. You don't want that.
Oh, Lord. So
I appreciate you guys, though.
Thank you. If you like this episode, folks, please do us a solid, rate, review, follow us on all of our social medias. You can find our show account at Tape to Tape, M&K. You can find at spelled with a K on Substack. I'm on Twitter or X, whatever it's called. Also, in our show notes, we'll pop in information on where you can pick up some of our merchandise if you want to rock some Bruins Tape to Tape swag. We very much appreciate the support. So, any clothes? Yeah, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're our number one supporter.
I'm tied. I'm sure there's others.
No, there
You've got a lot
are.
of
We
them.
have a great network that we
Yep.
really, in all
Yep.
sincerity, we really
Yeah.
appreciate
Yep.
our network that keeps pushing us forward. So, any last minute thoughts, my friend?
Go Bees.
Go Bees.
Go Bees.